Hello guys, welcome to Pitching in Line. In this video, we're going to talk about IPL 2024 analysis, where the season has been halfway through, where each and every team has played minimum of 7 games and maximum up to 8 games. And it has been like any other season where it has been exciting. And yet, although we are halfway through the season, there's no guarantee, what is the top four, exact top four, which is going to happen. But at the halfway through the stage, this is how the standings are. The top four teams are Rajasthan Royals, KKR, SRH, and Lucknow Super Giants. So in this video, we're gonna talk in specific details of each and every team and what are the things that they worked out well and what are the things that they can improve on. So the first team that we want to talk about is the table toppers, that is the Rajasthan Royals.
Yeah, Rajasthan Royals, I think, as we discussed in the previous video, we were like saying that they have got that blueprint right, and their
Mm.
combination has really worked, and I think that still persists. Although they lost, although the kind of 1-2 games which was scratchy, the game against Punjab and which they should have won easily, they won it, in the last over. And also the
Mm.
game against KKR, they took it so close. But the last game which they played against the Mumbai Indians, which they won convincingly, and also Yashasvi Jaiswal finally has hit the form, and Butler is scoring runs too. So I think RR is at this point of time, everything is really working. I just feel if they somehow try to bring in Berger, I think this team will be unstoppable uh, leading into the playoffs.
You rightly mentioned, there's not many flaws. This team looks really flawless. There have been times where the way they have utilized resources and it has instantly given them results. And going up to this point of time, they have these players who are coming back to form. We have seen Josh Butler kind of struggling in the starting, but he has won you 2 matches, 200s while
Mm.
chasing.
Mm.
That's great. And you had Yashasvi Jaiswal, who has come back to form, which is a big plus. And Sanju Sam and Riyam Parag has been doing well. And new bowlers has been doing well. If there's any sort of um, I wouldn't say that's a weakness, but probably a minor blip would be R. Ashwin's form.
Yeah.
He hasn't been able to pick up wickets, and his run rate has been almost 9 runs per over. I think that's one thing which probably they would be looking into it, but so far that hasn't really affected them. And I think one more thing which has really gone into in their favor is Rajasthan has played 8 matches and they won seven. In that, five of the matches that they played at home at Jaipur. So I think that has massively could have played a role, in them standing at this position. I don't think so. There's any other team which has played 5 home games out of 8. So I think that definitely has, helped them. And going forward, it will be interesting to see how well they can hold on to their spot. I think from here, I think it's kind of formality where they have to qualify. But since they'll be going to away games, it will be interesting whether they can hold on to the top to finish. So let's go to the next team, that is Kolkata Knight Riders. Take on, bro.
Yeah, KKR is another team which stays the same, like as we spoke the last time. They're, the helmed by Gautam Gambhir. All the strategies has been working really well, and they have been really, they have tried, they have captured the clutch moments. I think that's the appropriate term to use. Apart from that defeat against CSK in Chepauk, I think KKR has been really flawless. Of course, last game it could have gone either way against RCB when Karan Sharma almost took it off from Mitchell Stark. But apart from that, I think KKR has fired as a unit. There was some concerns regarding Shreyas Iyer's form, and he also scored some crucial runs. And Rinku Singh is contributing well whenever he's getting to bat. He is not getting to bat shows how stable their top order is. So I think KKR, if at all they have to concentrate on one aspect of the thing is Mitchell Stark. It looks a little bit of concern. one they can they have the cup. They have two options there. One, they can bring in someone like Chamira, like to like replacement. Else, what they can do is they can drop Venkatesh Iyer, bring in Rutherford, and play a right arm quick called Saqib Hussain. He's a very promising young bowler from Bihar, so they can bring him in also. They can do that change. Apart from that, I think KKR looks a very stable unit as far as now.
I think what you mentioned about replacing Venki Iyer, I think we have spoken even at the starting of the season as well that KKR should utilize him well, which I think they are not. And I can understand Sunil Narayan and Philip Salter giving them flyers, and you have middle order which is packed with Shreyas Iyer, and Andrew Russell is kind of back. He has been playing some astonishing knocks, rewinding the clock. You have Rinku Singh whenever he's getting an opportunity. So I think they can definitely try to. He's a quality player, but if you're unable to bring the best out of him, I think if you're saying if that Shakib is a very good fast bowler, I think that's something they can look forward to. And Rutherford is an all-rounder too. He can contribute to you with the bat and ball, and he's another mighty hitter. And if you have Russell, Rinku, and Rutherford, I think it would be dangerous, very dangerous. And KKR, like you said, they have definitely won those clutch moments. They had 3 close games, which they won 2 against SRH and 1 in the previous game. And they lost 1 game, which was very close. So, but yeah, I think it all depends upon how you are converting those close matches in your favor. So the next team that we're going to talk about is Sunrisers Hyderabad. This is a team which kind of, taking the most advantage of impact player rule. I mean, their score so far has been quite astonishing. We have seen in the first 1/3 where they have scored 277, and in the second and by the first half they scored another 2 scores which are about 260s. And how do you see this team favoring going ahead?
That's all. Again, I'm saying no. We just before the tournament begin, only issue we had is how they will manage the overseas players, because the amount of quality which they have in overseas options is way too high. So that was the only area I was like little bit concerned that how they will manage. But the way they have managed it, that's really incredible. And Hasaranga kind of missing out is kind of makes things really easy, I will say. I'm not saying him playing would have made them more strong. Why I'm saying it kind of made things easier because it allows them to decide who will be your 4 overseas. Just imagine if Hasaranga was there they will have to really scratch their head that who will be their 4th overseas. So in that aspect, it's fine. And I think their bowling is kind of looking a little shaky now. And Bhuvi is extremely effective with the new ball, but in the death overs again, it's a concern. Natarajan coming into the rhythm, I think that's a big positive for Sunrisers. Cummins has bowled really well, and he has bowled in crucial overs. He has picked wickets too, so he has already justified his place. And with all rounders like Nitish Reddy and Shahbaz Ahmed stepping up into the big occasions. Even the last game, after a great start against Delhi Capitals, when they lost their way a little bit, the kind of start which they had, I think Nitish Reddy and Shahbaz played a really sensible knock, which still, even despite that collapse, they took them to 260 odd. So that talks volume about the intent with which they are playing. It might and Pat Cummins, you could have seen that video. He was like very particular about the brand of cricket which they play, and they want to really impose themselves on the opposition. I think that brand of cricket is what makes them unique, and it looks really explosive unit as far as now.
Yeah, I think you have covered all the points. There have been flamboyant, there have been flair, filled with flair. Yeah, and I think the definitely best suit is bowling, and the strongest is batting, which is weird because of the SRH, what we have known last years, the history of IPL. This is the bowling which was always their strength. So I think that's something that they have to get in right if they have to go, try to finish in the top 4, top 2. Or going into deep in the tournament as well. So then that we're going to talk about is Lucknow Super Giants. This is a team which is very constant since inception. since last 2 years as well. They've been doing extremely well. Even this season, you do not have much of media hype or PR thing that is going on, but this team has definitely flown under the radar and they have positioned themselves in a very good position. And winning against Chennai and Chipok is not at all an easy task, and they did it by coming from back. And how do you see this team auguring well, and what actually worked for them, and what could be their weak going forward?
I think Lucknow, before coming into that game against CSK in Lucknow, they lost their previous game, so they had to win this CSK game, at least one CSK game to keep themselves afloat in their points table. But by winning
Mm.
both the games, I think they have given themselves an opportunity to stay there and continue their form. Because after this, I think they will be playing teams like KKR and Rajasthan Royals, so that will not be an easy task. So beating CSK twice, I think that will really give them a lot of confidence. And and imagine that they are without their impact player in Mayank Yadav, and they're not playing Shamar Joseph too. I think if going into the tournament, if they can try and utilize Shamar Joseph and Mayank Yadav whenever he gets fit, I think LSG will be gunning their top four slot, and they, as you rightly pointed out, they are not a team who makes a lot of noise and who have a lot of media focus and attention. But they have been doing things really well, and they have been very disciplined. And I have to credit KL Rahul and Justin Langer. When we talk about the leadership, they have led this team really well. I think LSG as a unit is working well, and one more important thing is Marcus Stoin is at number 3. I think that's a positive move, and that has worked really well for them.
Mm. Yes. So yeah, I think Lucknow will be looking forward to continue the same performances. And like you mentioned, in this top 4-5 teams, which are the first of the teams which are there, they want to play each other quite often in this round. And the schedule is like that. So I think we can see a lot of changes in the next time. So the team that we want to talk about next is Chennai Super Kings. I think the most popular team in the IPL. There has been a lot of focus on Dhoni, the way he's finishing and everything. They were in a good position with 4 wins out of 6, and suddenly they lost 2 out of 2. And I wouldn't say they're still in a bad position. I still back them to qualify for the playoffs. Yeah, I think they kind of deviated or got distracted. What do you feel is the reason where again they are in the middle mud?
I think they have tried to tinker a little bit. That's what the reason I feel. And their opening combination, they have replaced Rachin Ravindra in the previous game. They brought in Mitchell back. That's a good move, I think. Given Rachin was little low on confidence, but I somehow feel that, I don't know, it won't be it won't be a popular opinion, but I suppose that they have to take a call on Ajinkya Rahane. And because, see, last season, if you ask me, he was in the team because he batted with a good strike rate and he was taking the bowlers head on. But I think this year he hasn't been that flamboyant as he was in the previous season. Also, it has to do with the form which he was carrying in the Ranji season. He had a terrible Ranji season. So I think if one change they can do is, if at all they can try to do is, they can bring back Rizvi as a main player, and they can give him that number 3 spot. Probably open with Moeen Ali and Ruturaj Gaikwad. I think that will make their outlook really well. And I somehow feel that Mitchell Sadner has to come into the picture, irrespective of where they are going to play. If they are going to play in Chennai or outside, that's not the concern. I think they have to bring in someone like Mitchell Santner, because their bowling is looking a little shaky, and you can't load Patirana all the time, with the expectations. So you need one person to hold one end, and Jadeja hasn't been that old Jadeja which we know. So, and Shivam Dube batting below Jadeja is also kind of questionable. So these are the things which kind of letting them down.
Yeah, I think definitely. I mean, as you have definitely pointed out all the reasons where it went wrong for them, and I'll talk about the things that really worked for them. Is Ruturaj Gaikwad coming back to form. His 100 was sublime, was totally a class innings where it's proper cricketing shots. And then you had Shivam Dubey, the way he accelerated in between overs. And you have rightly pointed out, I think he should be batting up the order instead of Jadeja. We have seen in this tournament where LSG is doing with Stoinis and Pooran, they're trying to bring them up the order because the impact rule, where they're trying to take the cushion at the back end. And SRH is also bringing in Markram and Klassen as early as possible. So I think with this impact rule where other teams are doing this thing, I think CSK can definitely try to follow the same thing. But the quality that they have, I think they'll definitely bounce back. So the next team that we're going to talk about is Delhi Capitals. The team which in the first 1/3 kind of was struggling with the combination that what to have and what to do. But right now, boy, I think they're looking very consistent, especially the batting unit. And I think it's clicking at the right time. Going ahead, I think they'll have a few tough matches, but I think they can still pull off few. They have to play exceptionally good cricket to win few close matches to qualify.
Yeah, of course. One thing they have found the way out is, it's their batting. They understood what's their stronger suit. Their stronger suit definitely is not their bowling. Their stronger suit is their batting. And by bringing in Jake Fraser McGurk into the picture and him performing too, that's more important. I think they have, understood that, let's just beef up our batting and let's try and score runs and, try to defend whatever is on the board. I think that's the best way to go forward. And given their bowling, you can't really, improve their bowling much now at this moment, except spinners. Their pace bowling is little, iffy. But with the batting they have, I think they can challenge any opposition. Even today, if you see against Gujarat Titans, the runs which they had are on the board, it helped the bowling to, kind of restrict Gujarat Titans, even despite the fact that Miller was hitting it well. So I think they have found it well, and also I think this will allow them to go into the next auction, next year's mega auction, with a clear mindset and with them dropping David Warner. Do you feel that they have taken a call on him?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's more than what David Warner is doing. See, he's a class player. And he's a proven player, dude, and he has performed over a period of 10 years. So you cannot take those players lightly. But the amount of impact that Fraser has gotten, I think it's hard to ignore that. So I think Delhi should and probably will continue with the same combination. And his impact, you can see if he can be for 5 overs, I think it would be game changing for them as well. And it's and the brand of cricket that we are seeing this season with the impact rule. So you need those kind of players. And we know Dave Warner is an aggressive batsman, but he's not as aggressive what he has been in the past. And I think personally, as much as I like David Warner, I think this is the right move to going ahead, because this is working for you. Why to change it? It's as simple as that. So the next team that we want to talk about is Gujarat Titans. The team which had two great campaigns in the last 2 seasons, and they are this season without their kind of controversial captain Hardik Pandya, and they're kind of they're doing well. They have been very inconsistent. There are a few matches where they have done well, they won. Again, there are a few matches which they came very close and they didn't win, which was their positive point in last 2 seasons, because they were able to win those crunch games, very close games more often. And this year they're not doing it. And one of the reasons what I feel is I know they have Gill at the top and Colin Miller in between. I think they do not have this heavy run scoring batsman in between, at probably number 3, number 4 position, who's able to contribute to you, or who's a bank for you of 30 runs or 40 runs. I think that's something they're probably lacking. But something, they're definitely quality side, but something is not clicking. What do you think is the reason?
I think, see, talking about number 3, I think they have Sai Sudarshan has done really well. Whatever has been asked of him, and he's a very, very, very good player, quality player, and he has played that number 3 role really well. Of course, there has been some questions on the strike rate of his, but again, that's how he plays. So I think that's the role which is given to him. More than that, I think they are not able to mend that middle order really well. And even Omarzai, but in between he was, he got unfit, and even David Miller got unfit. That kind of
Mm.
broke the chain in little bit, and they had a lot of in and outs lot for a lot of players, which kind of made their team look little unsettled. They still are a very good
Mhm.
team, and I think one thing which I want to quote is, that today's match, if you ask me especially, they played Sai Kishore, who bowled really well against Punjab Kings the previous game, and is a proven match winner for Tamil Nadu, the Tamil Nadu captain. So what happened is
Mm.
today when you see two left-handers batting, Akshar and Rishabh Pant, you go into that typical mindset of matchups, that misconception that you can't bowl left arm spinner to two left hand batters. So because of that, what they did is they kept Sai Kishore away. And 19th over, when Tristan Stubbs came off, they thought, okay, a right hander has come in, so let me bring in my main left arm spinner for his first over and the 19th over. That itself was a bad move. What they thought was could have been a matchup, that I think that was the over which kind of took the match away from them, and that was kind of
Yeah,
a difference which they lost. So even the
yeah, I
strategical
think
errors are costing them games this year.
yeah, that's for sure. I think you have pinpointed it very perfectly. So the next team that we're gonna speak about is Mumbai Indians. This is a team which has started very slow. They didn't win their first three matches, and they won a couple of matches in a row, and again they happened not winning. I think it's more the off-field issues which is still dominating. We have spoken about it in our analysis of first one third of the tournament where they have been struggling with it, and I think the issue is still going on. It's been halfway through, and I think the off-field issues are still dominating it. And the last defeat against Rajasthan Royals would be a punch in the gut because Rajasthan completely annihilated them. They won it without any contest. They won it very easily with 9 wickets. So, what do you say, bro? I mean, what they have to do? We know it's still quality side. Knowing Mumbai Indians, they have always been a very perennial slow starters, and they peak at the right end, business end of the tournament. So you can never rule them out. But what are the things that they can try to do it? Do you think it's more about the issues that are happening in the camp, or is it the strategical issues, or is it how they're utilizing their resources?
I think at this point of time, if you ask me, it's more of strategical issues more than the off-field issues. And
Hmm.
previous game against RR, as you rightly pointed out, they were annihilated. And if you ask me, that game, I think Mumbai Indians played their best playing 11, like the best available playing 11, which they have. They brought in Nehal Vadera, and they brought in
Hmm.
Nuwan Tushara too. But the problem which they had in the previous match, also against a tactical error, what they did is, like, once Nehal Vadera got out when they were batting, should have sent someone like Tim David. Tim David is known for hitting the sixes right from the word go. But Hardik Pandya promoting himself up the order and wasting 10 balls, I think that kind of broke the momentum. One. Second is, when you are defending that much of a total, even see, first of all, recovering from that early jolts to getting it to 180, I think that this still that talks about what quality they have as a batting team. But when you are defending someone something like that against Butler and Jaiswal was struggling until then. Instead of
Hmm.
giving the first over to Bumrah and second over to Tushara, who will swing the new ball, Hardik Pandya himself takes the new ball and gives them opens the gate for them and gives concedes 10 runs to Josh Butler. That kind of opens up the whole proceedings. So, and second over, if you ask me, when third over when they brought in Gerald Coetzee, even though he gave away 10 runs to Yashasvi Jaiswal, but he was bowling with pace and he was troubling Jaiswal.
Yeah,
But
he was struggling. Yeah.
yeah, but when you understood that even Jaiswal scored runs, he was looking uncomfortable and he was still looking for runs. Instead of giving him a one more over, you again changed back, and you again bowled. So if you do all these kind of this mistakes, then nobody will be able to save your I don't want to use that word, but that's what they are getting hit.
Yeah, I think one important point that you have definitely, I agree with it, and I strongly want Mumbai, any team in fact, is use your best bowlers up front in the power play when you have a good fast bowler. I can understand if you have a good spinner or something like that, or if that bowler is a proper death bowler, I can understand it. But you have a quality like Bumrah, you have quality like Kodze, and you are going against a very quality team. Like Josh Butler is in form. Yashasvi Jaishwal, he has been a tremendous form in the test before, in the test series before. It's a different format. He hasn't been in this thing, but you can never rule out a person who has been in a tremendous form 2 months back, right? And you have this batting order like Samson, Rian Parag, and everything. I think it would have been very ideal where you bring in your best bowlers, and Bumrah is one of the best in the world. I think they should have given a right crack at them. And I think this is something that even other teams should look into it. Is if you're playing against a team like Rajasthan, which is full with quality players, there could be an argument where people are saying maybe they wanted to restrict them in the middle overs given how strong they are. But if you kind of restrict them in the starting itself, move the wicket. I think in this era where the scoring has been high, the only way to stop it is by picking up wickets. So I think that's, yeah, you have said it rightly. I think that's something that Mumbai should try to look into it. So the next team that we want to talk about is Punjab Kings. Different season, same story. Go on.
So again, man, there's nothing much to speak about this team. Again, another case of mishandling their resources. And when you know someone like Sikandar Raza, I've been speaking time and again, that person is someone who has been, very consistent across the globe for wherever he has played. And if you play him, he gives you that stability in the middle order and gives you that 4 overs bank. But when you see, it took around 5 to 6 games for you to determine that Johnny Besto is woefully out of form. Okay, you realize that, then what you should have done is you should have brought back Atharva Taide and Prabh Simran to open. And what you should have done is bring back Sikandar Raza in place of Johnny Besto and beef up that middle order. But what you did is, again, you went back to square one. You replaced a guy who was out of form with another guy who was woefully out of form. This is Riley Russo is some person who has been struggling for us from past 6 months. Ever since that SA20 in South Africa, he has been, struggling to get a bat on ball. He recently played PSL there. He scored around just 135 runs in 10 games. If you replace someone like him with Johnny Bairstow in the middle order, then you are allowing the opposition to, you are literally giving 3 free wickets up top. Then how many times will you ask Shashank Singh and Ashutosh Sharma to do the heavy lifting? I think they are reaping the rewards of their own mistakes. I think they had the team. If they had realized they had little bit of sense, they could have done better. But again, they are not trying to learn from their mistakes. Is what is disappointing.
Yeah, I think resources mismanagement is the right term for them, because you have, I mean, they found out gems in Shashank Singh and Ashutosh Sharma, because I think they performed 3 matches like that. You can understand one match, it sometimes happens, second match, but three matches, that's a quality right over there. Right? And you have Rabada and Sam Curran. Yeah, I think it would be the same thing going to the next auctions. I think if they can retain their performers and try to build a team around them. So the last team that we're going to talk about is Royal Challengers Bangalore, a team which always has a lot of media hype around it, and everybody were expecting RCB to struggle at the start of the season, but I think we both have predicted that they're going to struggle. But 8 matches, 1 win. I don't think so. I wouldn't even would have guessed that bad. What do you think? Because they have a very good batting unit. I know they have a very bad, not so great bowling unit, but batting wise, I think they're in Chinnaswamy. I think they should be able to blow out teams like 1 or 2 games at least.
See, that is the best example. Last game is the best example. They came so close to chase that total from KKR. See, the problem is, they again same thing. They didn't realize what is their best suit. Now, see, it's irrelevant to talk about the auctions now, right? So when you understood that your bowling is weak, what we spoke is right from the word go, they have to play all Indian seam attack and beef up their batting. But since now Glenn Maxwell is unavailable now, they finally understood that they have to play only one overseas seamer. Even still now they are not learning. Still now they are saying that we'll play at least one seamer. Okay, you play one overseas seamer. With Glenn Maxwell unavailable, it kind of makes sense that you have to play one overseas seamer. Now look at their batting. Faf, Virat, Will Jacks, Cameron Green, Rajat Patidar, Lomror. That's a very dangerous batting. But the time has run out. Now what they should do is they should try to win as many games as possible in their remaining fixtures, and just try to make sense out of which player are going to continue for you and which player you have to get rid of. So if you at least work towards, now I think it's better to forget what's going to happen this season. This season is done for them. Now better concentrate on what's going to happen in the future. You look at players like Will Jacks, Cameron Green, and all these people, and try to retain them or get them back in the auctions. So and build a good team around them, and appoint a new young Indian captain. I think that's how they should go this season. I think it's done for them.
I mean, mathematically, they're still there. Mathematically, if they win all 6 matches, they can go up to 7, where they might have chances, but they're dependent on other teams. But again, I think you have pointed out everything rightly so. And I think Dinesh Karthik is one player who has been tremendous. He has been that player despite having so much gap. He tries to bring the runs, the margin of defeat very less, and you actually feel the way he's playing, he might even win the match for RCB. And if and after realizing that, and if you and all that RCB batters at the top, what they have to do is they have to do at least 60% of the work or 70% of the work, where the amount of workload that you're giving to DK is less for him to finish. There are more chances for him to likely to win the match for you. I think against SRH, I know it's very tough. We knew it's very tough to chase 288, but I think he has done a pretty good job. Then against KKR, then when they lost a lot of wickets, again he came at then and he did some, scored very well, and he got it very close until Karan Sharma smashed those 3 6s. But that's what, if you as a team, if you can contribute more 20-25 runs, I think that would be a bit of less burden for DK, because he's a player who's going to play high risk shots. Not every day it's going to come for you. Not every ball is going to go in your favor. So I think that's something that they have to think and try to contribute as much as possible, and that's all it is needed. And that's it, guys. We have spoken about all the 8 teams and what are the chances and everything. And right, I mean, though the table is like this, I definitely think the top 8 teams, all the teams have proper chances, and at least the table until GT looks very, very tight. Because 1-2 wins, 1-2 losses here and there would actually change the table up and down. So going at the business end of the tournament, I think we might see a lot of changes as well. So that's it, guys, from us. Until then, Tata, see you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.